Yeah, very happy to be here and show this work, the Attention Guild. Well, this is a floor of protocols, and so to contribute to this floor, we decided to build one of our own. It's called the Attention Guild, and it's a read-write space for capturing context. All discussions in this room are submitted as context to agents that deliberate through a semi kind of musical process and build software for the duration of the exhibition. It feels particularly nice to be on this floor with other researchers, scientists, computer scientists who we've invited to be a part of this show. And I guess the critical kind of thing that is shared here is everyone has this common interest in not only studying protocols, but producing them, producing protocols that are deployed in the real world and have emergent effects kind of greater than the sum of their parts.
We've been thinking about how the norms and uses of public space is really changing as the tools that we're using are also changing, the kind of norms and rituals and how people are behaving. So as Matt mentioned earlier, we think of this space as a read-write space. So thinking about institutions as spaces where lots of context is created and gathered, and so really trying to capture that. Berggruen Institute, of course, has this rich history of symposia and people gathering, debating really important topics. And so we wanted to harness the activity that happens in the institution by building a kind of parliament area where people could really debate these ideas. And then, of course, we have the upside down parliament on the ceiling, the kind of mirror world, where our agents are constantly listening and then parsing and communicating back to us our ideas and helping us to kind of parse this vast amount of context that's created within the institution.
Yeah, I think it's particularly special to be here and presenting this show in the Berggruen Institute, given also the emphasis on philosophy. One thing we've been talking about, you know, it's kind of a common story in the arts at the moment, I think somewhat sensationalized. The artists are having anxiety that you know, machines and models are capable, often wielded by humans, of course, of producing pretty good films, pretty good images. But it's also, you know, from a whole other community, I can report, you know, that software engineers are having that same anxiety, where it's increasingly becoming effortless to produce software, to produce code. And of course, when it becomes effortless to produce an image or a video or a piece of software, the difficult part is debating what and why. Like, what do you want and why do you want it? And so I think it's no surprise that philosophy and discussions of things like protocols, like social norms, technological norms and habits, why these discussions have become so much more prominent. And so, yeah, it feels kind of appropriate to celebrate that by making this an open public space where people are free to debate ideas and agents can chime in and build stuff.
So one thing that Hans Ulrich was really excited about in one of our calls was this idea of vibe coding. So this idea that anyone can write software nowadays. And so we became really inspired by this idea of the space being able to write software on behalf of all of the contributors that come. So you can come here, you can contribute an idea. If you have a novel idea about, say, protocol art, that will go into the protocol art mission, that'll go into the repository. And then, you know, that will go into the website that people then can call, and eventually even software can be written on the back of the ideas that are generated in this space. So we're really excited about this new capability that spaces have to kind of be alive.
And in a sense, there's a tension there with that norm, right? In a time where a lot of people, I think, many oversensitive to the idea of their data being utilized, I guess our provocation with this piece is to say, well, you know, if collective and public spaces are there and are able to ingest contributions, what's so wrong with collective contributions producing a collective benefit? I love, for example, the Pokemon Go model, or the Niantic Labs model, where, you know, people are producing incidental utility for others. You know, you're playing a fun game, trying to catch a Pokemon, but you are also in that moment, you know, maybe helping someone to find a restaurant or find their way home. I don't see that as being so bad, so long as people are aware of what's going on. And I think these conversations are going to get more complicated and delicious as time goes on, as you kind of expect that every conversation could well be contributing value or utility to a project that you may never encounter. There's something interesting to that, I think.
We often say angels appear as what you fear and the devil appears as what you desire.
Yeah.
And so with this piece, we're kind of leaning into that kind of fear that people have of being recorded and everything being captured by really making the microphone super visible and making the space super aware that all of those things are being captured and asking, what if that but good?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what if that but good?